Ellis. He's a senior policy advisor at America First Policies. Curtis, is this the proof we need that we're winning the trade war with China?
Absolutely. We are winning, and we are not tired of winning yet. We're seeing the slowest economic growth in China in 27 years. And as the president said, and as documented on the Wall Street Journal's front page, companies are moving their supply chains out of China. They can't make it through the exits fast enough. The fact of the matter is, 5 out of 10 of China's top 10 exports to America are also made in Mexico. So there is no reason for these companies to be in China. Why would you want to invest in a country that is ruled by an authoritarian regime that does not respect rule of law, that could confiscate your property as well as your trade secrets at any time, and is antithetical to American values and interests? Finally, we have an administration that has woken up America and woken up to the world to those facts, and businesses are starting to respond. And thanks to this temporary halt in the raising of tariffs, they now have more breathing room. Companies have a little breathing room to diversify their supply chains, get out of China.
Dems were trying to distance themselves from the four progressives, but now they are forced to embrace them. That means they are endorsing socialism, hate of Israel, and the USA. Not good for the Democrats. Curtis Ellis, though, has been standing on the sidelines waiting for this. So, Curtis, we're going to bring you back into the conversation with the panel. What do you make of all of the really harsh words that came out of those? You actually spoke with the president, and you worked with the president. So what do you make of all of this?
It's just amazing. These people can't help themselves. Look, the American people can sense, they can hear, they can see, and they can sense the negativity and the toxicity bubbling out of these four. And now the Democratic Party has embraced them and refuses to distance themselves from these very negative, very just incessantly negative, radical people. And as long as the spotlight is on these four, the Democrats are losing. President Trump is winning, and he's got them exactly. He has the Democrats exactly where he wants them. We've seen the polling. People know who Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is, and in the swing states, they know her and they don't like her. And I would not be surprised if behind the scenes Nancy Pelosi was saying, please don't go out there, please don't respond, please don't do this press conference, but they can't help themselves. They may say this is a distraction and we will not allow ourselves to be distracted, but by coming out and doing what they did, they just were distracted. So they're feeding into the narrative that they really should not be advancing.
I mean, Curtis, look, I would agree with you that this is not optically so great for the Democrats, many of whom represent swing state districts where this is just not part of the warp and the woof. But by labeling their stuff toxic and somehow ignoring what it was that triggered this, which was President Trump's tweets in the first place, I mean, I can say that there's a lot of negativity and toxicity on the side of those four representatives, but you would have to be completely tone deaf to not notice the fact that it's triggered by an equal level of toxicity, animosity, and anger on the part of the president. This is a dance that, you know, both are undertaking and going through. It's disturbing that you seem to only hear one part of the chorus, which is a little bit like what you talk about with China. This is a relationship. This is not a one-sided thing where there's virtue on one side and vice on the other.
So could I actually weigh in and sort of further on that? It seems to me, if nothing else, this was politically not a great idea for the president to go after these four because they're self-destructing all by themselves. Their approval ratings are absolutely horrific. AOC's is 22%, Ilhan Omar's is like 9%, and these were from people who know about them. So I think, wouldn't it be better if President Trump just sort of ignored them and let this rift with Nancy Pelosi go along and let them sort of do their own damage?
Thank you, Liz. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Sorry, Gary.
What?
No, I didn't mean to step on you. Excuse me.
What I'm saying is the president has some pretty darn good things going with the markets as far as developed nations, the economy. Why he keeps segueing over to these people, I do not know.
Well, I can tell you why.
Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
The fact that we're even talking about this right now, when the market hit another high today, when the economy's soaring, when the job numbers are magnificent, is an absolute waste of time. And you know what? The problem is anything he says is going to take 50% of the country is going to take it one way, the other 50% is going to take it another way, and nothing ever gets done. A mistake.
They're extremely divisive. Let me just say, they're extremely divisive personalities, which is one reason I think these congresswomen very smartly tried to keep this focused on substance. They kept going back to health care, education, all the like. Of course, they couldn't help but take some personal shots at the president, and several of them talked about impeachment. I actually thought AOC probably had the best approach. She relayed that experience of coming to see D.C. as a child with her parent and her father, and looking at the Washington Monument and being told this belongs to all of us. So I think when they get into the gutter, they lose. And to the president, I would just say, why punch down? You're the president. These are junior Congress people. Lead, don't follow by punching down.
Look, Nancy Pelosi was trying to distance herself. Nancy Pelosi was trying to distance herself from these four. Now she's forced to defend to defend them. That's not a good position for her to be in. It's that simple. And he's corralled them exactly where he wants them to be. The Democrats are now identified as the party of Ilhan Omar, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and the most sensible one of the bunch is Ayanna Pressley, but even she couldn't help herself by being entirely negative.
Curtis, Ellis, thank you so much for hanging around and giving us your insight. Really, really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Silicon Valley